And before I deep dive into that, though, I want to let you guys know that, if you haven't seen that interview, watch it before you listen to this podcast, because I'm going to go over the interview right now. I want to first, say shout out to Golden Eagle Energy Drink. They are sponsoring the podcast. They're supporting me. They're funding. They're helping, the podcast grow. So please support them. Go to drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP to order a 24-pack. It's way cheaper than Red Bull. If you're a fan of energy drinks or, just drinks that are smooth, like even Benzino said, and I swear to God on my soul, I did not pay Benzino to say that at all. Like, I gave him the can because I knew this is like the first episode we're getting sponsored by them. So I just gave him the can, said, "You a fan of energy drinks?" He was like, kind of, we'll see. And then, so he opened it right there and drank and said that, there's no aftertaste, it's smooth, he likes it. So that was really cool to get that, especially with finally getting a sponsor for the podcast and that happening like on camera. That was amazing. So shout out to him for that. But yeah, check him out, drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. It'll take you straight to the Amazon website to order a 24-pack. Overseas and everybody around, outside of America, we're going to see if we can grow it to get other people to get it outside of America. That'll be really great as well. But right now, it's only in America that you can get it and actually order a pack and have it delivered to you. So I apologize if you're, outside of America and you would like to support and get one. We'll make that happen as time goes on. But shout out to them. I really appreciate it. From your guys' support, watching, liking, sharing, to the way it's grown now to finally get a sponsor for the whole season. Amazing. So there's a lot to go over. A lot. I wanted to, like, after I did the Benzino interview, I was going to do an episode immediately right after, but I was like, let me let the Benzino interview kind of breathe a little bit, because, if I would have dropped an episode, it would have been literally the next day, because the interview dropped Sunday. So I skipped it. I was like, let me just skip that. Let me let this episode breathe. And that's what I did, and it's performing pretty well. So let's go over the Benzino interview, because I also wanted some days to go by to see people's feedback and see what people said about the interview. And first off, this randomly happened. Like, I know on the podcast I said I wanted to get him on, but like, I didn't have anything planned or scheduled when I said that. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we're talking behind the scenes, and the reason why I said that on the podcast is because I'm going to get him on. I just said that out of my ass, talking. Like, a lot of times when I talk on this podcast to try to get artists, I just talk, and then sometimes I'll reach out, sometimes I won't. Now, when I reach out to artists, because a lot of people wonder, why don't you have a lot more guests on the podcast? Well, the number one thing is actually time, and just, you have to do, like, I don't want to half-ass an interview for you guys. Like, I've never half-assed anything I've done on my platform. I never will. I feel like that's cheating you guys. So in order to have guests on here, I have to take a lot of time to do research and get it done properly and know about the guests and just go down the history and ask questions that really nobody else is asking or, hasn't asked. So that takes a lot of time. And I'm working on documentaries, working on regular news podcast episodes, and just life in general. So, I promised you guys for season 4, I would try to get 10 guests for this whole season 4. So far we got, Benzino. I'm going to try to get 9 more. I don't know who, I don't know what, I don't know when, I don't know where, but, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to work really hard to make it happen. So yeah, let's talk about the Benzino interview. This was random. Like I said, I talked about it on the podcast, wanted to get him on, but it was very, very random. I messaged him. The reason why I wanted to, like, actually reached out, because I knew that his Instagram page got deleted, and that he had to restart his Instagram page, and he didn't have that many followers. I mean, he's got like 18 or 20,000 right now, but that's not that much. Like, when you're reaching out, especially from my Diverse Mentality Instagram page, which has 260,000 followers, you reach out like that, your message goes all the way to the top on Instagram, and you instantly can get, the person's attention. So I'm not even joking, I was sitting here Friday night at the office, I was working on a documentary, and I just happened to scroll past Benzino's Instagram page, saw that he had like 18,000 followers. I was like, fuck it, let me just message him. I said on the podcast I'd get him, I'd try to get him. So I was like, why not? Let's just see what happens. Now, mind you, when I reach out to a lot of these artists, there's some that will respond and be like, yeah, I'll come through. Sometimes it doesn't happen, though. Like, there's some people that just say it, but they'll never come through. There's some that say, I'll come through, but just wait at a better time. And then there's some that will see the message, just leave me unseen and just not say anything. And then there are people that will never respond or ever open the message and just, so that's the reality of the situation when you're reaching out to a lot of these people to do interviews. So luckily for me, reached out to Benzino. Literally within probably 30 minutes, I basically just told him straight up. I was like, listen, I like Rap Elvis, your diss, and I do. I'm not like joking or lying about that. I think it's the second best diss track that's been released towards Eminem. Cannabis has the number one. I don't have a specific track. I think Cannabis really went hard. I need to cover that beef in the future, but that's neither here or there. Reached out to him and said, I love the Rap Elvis diss track, but and I want you on the podcast. But I said, I am an Eminem and 50 Cent fan. So you're going on a platform that is going to challenge you, in some ways. So, I was like, yeah, I've covered your guys' beef, Eminem versus Benzino, who really won. It's got over 2 million views, blah, blah, blah. He read it, and then he responded. He's like, yeah, I've seen the documentary. Let's do it. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, when do you want to do this? He's like, here's my phone number. Give me a FaceTime call. He actually tried to call me on Instagram, video call, but the notification on Instagram is weird. I never got the notification that he was trying to call me. So, I missed it, but he was like, here's my number, just call me. I see it. And I'm on this Friday night, probably like 9 o'clock at night. We get on FaceTime quick. We introduce each other. What's up? He's like, what's up, Quake? I'm like, what's up, Benzino? And then we immediately got into like the music talk already with like Rap Elvis, the diss. He was in a great mood. He was cooking, great mood. He was like, you got good energy. Hell yeah, let's do this podcast, man. I 100% want to be on here. So, I was like, when can we do this? Here's where I'm going to explain to you guys where I felt like the interview could have been a little bit better and where I messed up on. And it wasn't 100% my fault, but, I need to be more on my P's and Q's when it comes to some things. He said Sunday morning he has to fly out because he's going to be in Miami. He's going to do Drink Champs. He's going to do whatever interviews he's doing out there. So he's like, we literally have tomorrow, and he was like, he was encouraging me to do it tomorrow on which would have been Saturday, because he's like, the topic is hot right now. If you want to, get the best possible outcome of the interview when it comes to views and performance, tomorrow's the best time that we would do it. So I thought about it. I was like, yeah, but it doesn't give me enough proper time to really, really a deep dive. And I really wanted to go over his whole life at that point, because I was like, the Eminem thing is, I already know most of it. Like, all I got to do is watch my Eminem versus Benzino, who really won. That's literally me explaining the beef. And I trust my own research better than anybody. So I then thought about it. I was like, okay, if we just stay on the Eminem stuff, I can be good. If we kind of tap out of there, I'm not going to really know too much about Benzino's life. I know he's part of the Source magazine. He's on Love and Hip Hop. I don't really know too much about his early life. So I was like, okay, if we're going to stay, and that's what basically he was implying, that we're going to stay on the Eminem topic for the most part. And I implied that as well. And he knew, like I said, blatantly open that I was an Eminem fan. I am an Eminem fan, and I am a 50 Cent fan. So that's the ops, basically. You're going on it's like in America, we have Democrat and Republican. It's like a Democrat going on a Republican platform. That doesn't happen often. It's rare, because you're going on a territory that's completely against, or at least mostly against, what you're saying. So knowing that, you guys have to, and I did this, I gave him huge props for coming on a platform knowing that it's somebody that supports the other side. And that needs to be commended a lot more. Benzino could have said, nah, man, fuck you. You're Eminem supporter. Why would I go on your platform and you attack me throughout the whole interview? So, he was like, let's do it, man. Doesn't matter if you're an Eminem supporter. We can debate, discuss. That's what hip hop's about. Let's do it. All right, cool. So Saturday came. I wanted to do the interview 8 afternoon just to allow me to have more time to prepare. That's what I wanted to do. But he pushed it up to 7, which is a little bit an hour early. He wanted to do 6, but I was like, can we just do 7? All right, let's do 7. I watched the Eminem versus Benzino, who really won. I write down my notes. Boom, I got this question, this to go, right? I have it planned out in my head. This is how I want it to go, this, that. So he comes here. He actually arrives early, so salute to him, being professional, arriving earlier, not even on time, but earlier, which is way better. He arrived at like 6:40. Pulled up, just him, no security, and his girl's in the car. That's it, just him. Pulled up solo dolo. What's up, Quake? What up, Vito? Comes in, great energy. Immediately, we sit down, and before we sit down, he's like, can we do the interview for like about an hour or so? And in my mind, I was like, fuck, I want more time than that, because I need more. I want to like expand on things and talk more about things. But I realized that Sunday morning has to fly out, and it's already in the afternoon late. 8 o'clock at night already. You know, by the time we get the interview done, by the time he drives back to his house, he's probably trying to get some sleep. Maybe he has to fly out really, really early in the morning. So I was like, you know what, let's do around an hour. That's fine. Then we get into the interview. And I had it planned out where I was going to, you know, start from the beginning of the beef to, you know, where we're at now. That was like, if you watch my Kid interview, the Kid interview, the first one, not the second one. The first one was about almost 3 hours long. That tells you right there that I have a whole like story that I want to go through, the whole like career timeline. And then sometimes when we're in conversations, it's going to go off the path, but I usually go back to what my schedule was in the interview. But this kind of just went left completely because we started out with the Golden Eagle energy drink, you know, saying powered by them, blah, blah, blah. And then it started getting into Europe and food and, you know, him being raised in Boston, which was cool. I liked that conversation. But with the limited time we had, that's not the thing that I want to be talking about right now. Like, I want to talk about everything that I really, really want to talk about, which is the Eminem thing and the 50 Cent at the end where I talked about the 50 Cent stabbing incident. So, you know, we spent about probably 15 minutes talking about that. So already 15 to 20 minutes is out the gate. So then I started to get into more of the Eminem stuff. And this is where, you know, I actually still have my notes here. You know, I had it from starting the beginning point of how this thing started, this, and that. And you can tell in the interview I was trying to get into that, but then it ended up going to different conversations. So my plan was to go through that schedule. It didn't happen. Things kind of went left and right, but it's okay. That happens, and I expect that in interviews. You're always going to have something planned until it actually happens. Things are going to change because conversations change. So, you know, we started talking and, you know, I pushed back on things. I didn't like that a lot of the feedback, like not a lot, because it really wasn't that much. Most people were positive about the interview, but a lot of people online were saying you were just agreeing with everything Benzino had to say. You were his yes man, whatever the case may be. And I was like, in what world does that make sense? Did you guys watch the same interview? That's the thing, is like, I pushed back on a lot of things he said. But here's the thing. When the person is in front of you and you guys are having a civil conversation and he's making some good points, which he was, I think to deny that Benzino was making good points is just you just straight up being a stan. And that's the difference. That's why I corrected him when he said fans, Eminem fans. I think Eminem fans are logical and they can see some points that Benzino is making is right. And that, hey, if he calls music to be murdered by dumpster juice, that's his opinion. I'm not going to sit here and fight and punch the guy for his opinion in music. I literally said in the interview, Get Rich or Die Trying to me is the greatest album of all time. And he said, that's the beautiful thing about hip hop. It's just perspective, it's opinion. And that's what it is. So I know a lot of people got mad at me for, you know, they got mad at me for Benzino saying, for me not fighting back Benzino for him saying music to be murdered by is dumpster juice. Like, what do you want me to say? Oh, your opinion is wrong. No, that's his opinion. And to be honest with you, Music to be Murdered By is not one of the best Eminem albums. It's, you know, I had somebody tweet me, it's a classic. I'm like, dude, that's your opinion, but it's nowhere near a classic to me. And I think for a majority of people, it's not a classic. To say it's a classic is like wild. That means you just throw the word classic like it's nothing. So that's a whole different topic of opinions of music. Whatever. I'm not going to argue. Even when he called Music to be Murdered By dumpster juice, I said I like Kamikaze, meaning the reason why I threw that out there is because during that time frame, after the Revival thing, after Revival being so bad, people were just criticizing Eminem as a horrible artist after that. And I was like, no, he dropped Kamikaze, and that shit was fire. That's probably one of his best albums. I ranked Eminem's albums. I think I had it in my top 3 or top 5. Anyways, that was one thing I got, you know, like, why are you, you know, not pushing back on that? That's his opinion, guys. I'm not going to fucking argue about somebody's music opinion. That makes no sense. That's the dumbest thing to argue about, because it's like, that's your opinion. If that's what you feel, then that's what it is. Sales said that it sold double platinum, 2 million. Amazing. I don't know. So I'm not going to argue about that. But people were saying that I was, you know, pandering to him, and I was like, he made a lot of valid points, guys. That's the thing, though. Because I got attacked by Eminem stans. I'm not talking about the fans. Fans are the logical ones that, you know, think Revival's garbage, that actually admit that Eminem has made a bad album, that are logical thinking and have common sense and don't, you know, get into their feelings about people's opinions and things like that. That's why I corrected Benzino, like I said, when he said fans. The ones that are crazy are the Eminem stans. Those are the ones that I got death threats from for simply saying I like Machine Gun Kelly's diss record better. That's wild. To get death threats over an opinion is insane. That's just not normal. And then my whole thing, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here because I'm like, I get so angry about that death threat shit that I'm like, it's insane that you get that. But I was correcting him on those things that, hey, let's separate the Eminem fans from the stands because not all Eminem fans are crazy. I'm a huge Eminem fan, but I'm not over here saying that everything Eminem does is amazing and I'm a yes man for Eminem and everything he does is the greatest thing that's ever existed, guys. Come on. That's a stand. And I'm not even like that with 50. I've said Animal Ambition's an all right album. I said he's corny for calling out Banks and Buck. I've said a lot of shit. When he had that Black Magic album coming out and he's doing that disco music, I was like, this is fucking trash. This is dumpster juice music. It's all right for artists to have bad albums, guys. So anyways, I'm getting off track. But I felt I did good in separating that. And he made good points about Eminem's fans or stans that go crazy for him not supporting his artists. That's one thing. Eminem's beat selection, I agree, could have been better. He used to have better beat selection earlier on. Now it's gotten okay with beat selection, but that's just an opinion once again. But I agree with that. So there's some good points he made. And if you're an actual Eminem fan and not a stan, you can see that Benzino doesn't have any issue with Eminem. Like, it's not a direct issue with Eminem. It's mainly with his fans. If you guys watched the interview, he said something along the lines of crazy fans are attacking me. And I was like, yeah, but you can't take out what the fans are doing to you on Eminem. That's me defending Eminem. I'm like, why the fuck are you attacking Eminem because of what fans are going after you for? And then he kind of rebutted, and he's like, man, who am I supposed to take it out on? Because if I talk to these fans, they don't even have a profile picture, and it's some random name, and then we bursted out laughing because that's true. When I got death threats from Eminem stands, it was some random people with fucking 4 followers, no picture, nothing, random names, because, an average person, nobody will say that to you in real life. Let's just say that. That's why these people have no profile pictures and they talk shit, because they'll never say that to you in real life. So I agree with that. I was like, I still defended Eminem. No, I said, listen, don't just attack Eminem because of these fans. But he's like, that's the only person I can go after because he actually has a face. He's actually a person. And these online people aren't. So I can understand that point of view. But at the end of the day, I was still defending Eminem. Now, other ways I was defending Eminem throughout the interview, because you guys the people that were commenting saying I was supporting him and agreeing with everything he said. The other thing was he said, and this is from the beginning of the beef, because when I went over my Eminem versus Benzino, who really won, he said this in the beginning of the beef. He said, Eminem, being a white rapper, sucks all the sales from everybody else and all the attention's on him. And that's when if you guys watched the interview, it surprised Benzino. It surprised him, because if you look, he's like, really? Like I said, every year that Eminem dropped an album, everybody that year sold a lot more. And you can look it up. Look it up on Wikipedia, the first week sales, and then you can find out the overall sales that year of albums. Everybody was like over 500, 600,000 their first week, besides like maybe a few albums. But when Eminem didn't drop, like the highest was like 500,000, and then everybody was below that. Now, I don't know if that's an Eminem effect but I was just using the example of when I would go to stores back in the day when CDs were selling. You would go to stores, you would see Eminem's album, and then you would see surrounding albums like Nelly, T.I., whoever at the time was popping, Ja Rule. And, that would intrigue you to potentially buy, a different album or check it out. That's the example I was giving to Benzino. But then he threw the thing of, but look, that's not true because Eminem stans don't support Royce da 5'9". Now, in that moment of the interview, I should have recognized what he was doing. He changed the conversation from Eminem just supporting hip-hop and making hip-hop more globally known. That's basically was my point, was that Eminem was broadening hip-hop and making more people want to come into hip-hop and enjoy it and consume it and purchase it. That was my point. His point was that Eminem's fans aren't supporting anything Eminem is associated with, which is too different. I think they need to be separated, because Eminem has brought a lot of people to hip-hop. I'm a 100% product of it. I said in the beginning of the interview, we got introduced to hip-hop through Eminem, and then eventually, I obviously love 50 Cent's music more, and then I became a huge 50 Cent fan, obviously still an Eminem fan regardless, but I'm a perfect example of that. So that was my point, in that Eminem made it more global and wide. I should have caught that he kind of changed it to, more of a Eminem fan base type of thing, and I wasn't making that. I was just saying that Eminem made it more global and more people were purchasing albums, whether they're Eminem fans or not, So that was my point in that, and I should have, in the interview, I should have caught that. But I mean, in the moment, you you always hindsight looking on it, like if you ever had if you ever argue with somebody really, you're really angry and you're trying to make points, and then once the argument's done, you then come up with some better points of what you should have said. That happened, basically. That happens in interviews. That happens a lot of times. So let me get a drink of this Golden Eagle because my mouth is dry and I'm over here stuttering like crazy. Shout out to Golden Eagle. Almost ran out of this can, so I was just drinking it, doing research. Sorry for the plug again, but I genuinely drink energy drinks. You guys have seen on the podcast since it started. I've always had an energy drink or some coffee, but mainly energy drinks. I prefer them more than coffee. And this to me is the greatest sponsor I could have hoped for because, now I got energy drink for ages, cases. And, now I can drink them and not have to, really spend a lot of money. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Made that point that nobody else made in that interview of Eminem rising sales of other artists. So Benzino's argument was he took sales. My argument with proof, which I should have had the statistics and everything. That's what I'm saying. I wish I had more time to prepare for the interview. More proof. I would have, kind of shut down that whole narrative. And I think I did. I surprised him with that thing. And he said, really, it was, because that's what I'm saying. Nobody mentioned that. Nobody's ever mentioned that in interviews. People just kind of, do research, I guess. So that was another defending. So that's two defending things. The third thing was that he said Shady Records as a label flopped. And even in Rap Elvis, he has that. And it's true. Other than 50 Cent, Obi Trice did pretty good. I think he sold double platinum on his first album, or maybe even triple. I don't know. I don't remember exact sales, but he did good. Other than that, pretty much everybody else didn't really have any success. But I threw back at him, and I should have mentioned this artist. It just completely slipped my mind. I didn't think of it at the time. I threw back at him Jay-Z and Rockefeller. Let's be honest. Jay-Z and Rockefeller, what Memphis Bleak didn't do that crazy numbers. Young Guns didn't do that much crazy numbers. Beanie Siegel, Freeway, what did they do? What are those? They didn't really do much. Now people are going to, I saw in the comments, what about Kanye and Rihanna? That has nothing to do with Rockefeller. Rihanna was never signed to Rockefeller. Kanye, on the other hand, I don't even remember what exact label deal he had, but Kanye West wasn't officially Rockefeller. I guess you can kind of say Kanye, but that's one artist. Eminem had one artist with 50 Cent, so it's the same type of shit. One artist is not really, the point here in terms of success. When it's hard for an artist to have a successful label because he's the face of that label, and then it becomes a kind of that artist type of thing. And then we threw out, I threw out the Young Money with Lil Wayne. Yeah, the first album came out. So yeah, Kanye was the success from Jay-Z basically, for the most part. And then Jay-Z had success later on with Rock Nation and as a management kind of company with J. Cole and Rihanna and so on and so forth. But regardless, I threw that out there. Didn't happen. Nas with the Queensbridge Artists, all that didn't happen. I should have this is the label that I should have threw at Benzino is Ja Rule Murder Inc. Because who the fuck out of Murder Inc., Cadillac Ta, Black Just, or whatever, Black Child, sorry, not Black Just, Black Child, and whoever the fuck else, besides Ashanti, and Ashanti got big because of the hooks she was doing for Ja Rule. Yeah, so that's what I mean, is it's hard for an artist-led label to succeed. So to blame that on Eminem, I actually pushed back on Benzino for that. And that's another thing defending him. So that's 3 times I defended him. Another moment when he said Eminem's fans are crazy, that Eminem is the only one to have these white, crazy fans. And I was like, no, look at Kanye's fans. They literally at one point were calling him God. Kanye can literally support Hitler and his fans will still support him. Kanye can say all kinds of shit and his fans will still support him. And then I threw Nicki Minaj in there because of the recent Megan and Nicki stuff and Nicki Minaj, Barbs. But then he was like, it's females, it's Barbs. Whatever. I mean, I guess that's a decent point because females act a little more emotional when it comes to this type of stuff than males do. But Eminem having only crazy fans that's not true. So I pushed back on that as well. That's 4 different scenarios where I was pushing back on him. Now, did Benzino have good points here and there? Yes. There's and at the end of the day, the thing that I wished, and Benzino even said this, and I wish more Eminem fans would realize this, is open your mind to other music, because there's a lot of Eminem stans that I run into that only listen to fast raps, and that's it. Fast rappers that can hibbity hobbity, that's it. They don't fuck with anything else. They think Lil Baby's trash. They think Future's garbage. They think Travis Scott's dookie. They think no, nobody else is good besides the hibbity hoppity boom 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 bobbity, like fast rappers. It's like you can like that, but dude, fucking open your eyes. Hip hop has so much shit to offer. So I hate when people, like if I say, oh, I love Lil Baby, man, I love he's lyrical here and there. Oh, Lil Baby's not lyrical, auto-tune, he's garbage, auto-tune. Like, bro, like what the fuck? Open your mind to stuff. And that's what he was saying. He was like, if I could say anything to Eminem fans, just open your mind, which is nothing disrespectful. It's nothing that I can't agree with. What am I supposed to say? Fuck you? And no, that's not come on, guys. Like, I think a lot of you wanted me to fight him, basically. I don't know what you guys wanted out of me. And I knew going into this interview, I wasn't going to please everybody, and I know that. Every interview I'm going to do, I'm never going to please 100% people, and that's not what I was looking for. But I think be a little bit more reasonable in saying that, I was defending Eminem a lot of the time. And you got to give Benzino respect for coming on a platform of a guy who's an Eminem fan. So the one thing that I regret is the interview was a little bit quick. I wish I had more time with him. And two, because of the limited time, I beat myself up right after the interview got done and Benzino left. I was like going over. I was like, shit, I forgot to ask him about the ghostwriting thing about Rap Elvis. Because we talked about it on FaceTime briefly. And he said on FaceTime, yeah, I just got a line or two for the ghostwriting stuff. He was like, it wasn't like they wrote the whole record for me. So I would have pushed back on him on that too. I would have said, listen, if you're in a rap beef, even if you got ghostwriters, don't admit it during the rap beef. It makes no sense. And the ghostwriting thing, I would have been like, it kind of takes away a little points from what you did. But at the end of the day, man, we don't know. A lot of diss tracks have come out, and we don't know if somebody threw lines at other people. Now, I'm not saying that Eminem's disses and what he's done, he's had help with. I don't know. But, I've heard Nas on Ether got a couple lines here and there that helped. Even Steve Stout said he was in the studio adjusting it, which, some people believe, some people don't believe. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the only question that I wish I would have threw in there in the time that we had. I fucked up on the ghostwriters thing. I beat myself up for it. I got pissed at myself. I, asked my brother Vito. I was so mad. But anyways, that's my kind of talk about the Benzino interview. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I'm glad I got to do it. It was something different. And Benzino's a really cool guy, man. I think I hope that if you were a straight Eminem stan or a really hardcore Eminem fan, that it kind of changed your perspective on Benzino. I think he made a lot of valid points. Is he 100% accurate in everything he's saying? No. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. I think Music to Be Murdered By isn't dumpster juice, but I don't think it's a fucking classic. I think it's a good album, like good, not great, not classic. Good is like anywhere from 6 to 7 out of 10. That's really great is like 8 or 9, and then classic is 10 out of 10. So it's like a 6 or 7 out of 10 for me. It's not that great of an album. Like, Eminem's Kamikaze is like a 9 out of 10 for me. So anyways, that's kind of my thoughts on the interview. I wish I would have had more time. I wish I would have asked the ghostwriting thing. And there's a lot of other things that I wish I would have asked. Maybe in the future, and if you guys want, I'll bring Benzino back again, and then we'll have a more lengthy conversation. And kind of maybe when the beef settles and kind of the situations, or Eminem drops his response and then Benzino drops his response, I'll probably have him on again. I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I want to get more guests. I said 10 for season 4, so 9 more left. I'm going to try to get more. Thank you to all of you that, even if you disagree with the interview, that you watched it, got your moments out of it. Regardless, I'm appreciative. A lot of people left amazing comments. Like there was somebody who left a comment saying, I like that you were still confronting him, but you were respectful of his answers and you were, taking your time and that's basically what it is, guys. I'm not here. At the end of the day, it's just a hip hop battle. This is not life or death. It's not spilling into the streets. These guys are 50-year-old men. Eminem's 50, Benzino's 58. This is just battle. That's all it is, guys. Nothing too serious. Even Benzino said, my hate isn't towards Eminem. His fans are just the crazy ones, so I'm taking out on Eminem. That's all it is, guys. I don't think sending death threats and calling people, racist things is not the cool way to go about this, guys. It's just a fun battle. Enjoy it for hip-hop. Enjoy that it's happening. Enjoy that we're having these moments while these people are still alive to give us these moments because they're getting older. They're in their 50s. And God forbid, the next 10 years they could be gone or the next 20 years. Who knows? So just enjoy moments, guys. It's not that serious. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the interview. And, hope to do more. So